Welcome, everyone. Today's lesson is on what a lot of people call yoga breathing or ocean breathing. Sometimes it's called fogging breath. I've even heard it called Darth Vader breath, and you'll find out later. But the Sanskrit term for it is Ujjayi breath, and it is commonly done in a yoga practice, a physical yoga practice. However, it's not required. I highly recommend it. I love it. I think it's a great way to regulate your deep breathing. But if you're still trying to figure out how to use your diaphragm and you're still kind of working with those muscles and developing the strength to expand the rib cage, then this might not be for you. Who knows? Actually, doing this might unlock something that helps you to access that. So I definitely want you to try. But just know that practicing breathing in this way isn't a requirement. So not only do I like it because it regulates the breath to slow it down, but I also like it because it makes a sound. And that sound and focusing on that sound is a great way to focus your mind on what's happening in the here and now. I've used this breathing technique in all different kinds of scenarios, the most extreme of which is when I ended up getting in a motorcycle crash in Thailand and had to take basically a local bus back to the village I was staying to get a ride to the hospital. And as I was sort of bleeding and the sun was beating into it, it was painful. And I remember just sitting on that. It's called a song towel. It's basically a covered pickup truck, and focusing on just the sound and deepening my breath to help me manage the extreme sensations or the pain that I was experiencing. So although we won't get to that extreme in our physical yoga practice, that's just an example of what you could potentially use this for. So also great if you have a hard time sleeping to sort of use this sound. Like I said, it does kind of have this ocean wave sound. So that can be an internal production that you focus on that can help you relax and maybe get to sleep. So a lot of different applications, but let's talk about it. All right. So first thing, what happens is it's breathing in and out of the nose. Okay. So Ujjayi breath is inhaling and exhaling out of the nose. Now, you also create a sound by constricting the base of your throat, the glottis. So it's like when you want to whisper to someone, like, do you realize how you whisper? You just start to talk like this. You do that by restricting the base of your throat. So you also do that when you fog a mirror, right? So just right now where you're sitting, I want you to pretend there's a mirror in your hand. And with me, you're going to take a really long exhale, pretending like you're fogging a mirror in your hand. Try to really make it as long as you possibly can. You can listen to mine. So even though I did that with my mouth open, it was just a way to illustrate to you of what that sounds like, even though we're only going to use the nose as we come in and out. And in fact, let's all do that again. And like I mentioned, we're going to use the mouth open just as a training tool to begin. So one more time, take a big breath in, and then exhale all your breath, but fogging into that imaginary mirror. So go ahead, as long as you can. And don't just 2-3 seconds. Like really, you heard how long mine was. Really try to go for it and extend it as long as possible. Now, what we're going to try to do is we're going to do that same thing. So we're going to exhale out of our mouth, pretending like we're fogging that mirror. But this time, after about like the first second or two, when we get the feeling, we're going to then close our mouth, continue to exhale out of the nose, making that same sound. So it's kind of like almost like we're tricking ourselves to a degree. So it's going to sound and maybe look like this. So I'm going to take a big breath in. First second or two, I'm going to be exhaling out of my mouth, and you'll see my mouth close, and I'll continue to exhale. Hopefully it comes through on the microphone. Here we go. So hopefully you were able to hear that even once my mouth closed, but maybe not. But there was still that audible sound happening. It was just a little bit more muted. All right. So go ahead, give that a try. Big breath in, relax your shoulders. Go ahead and exhale, start to fog your imaginary mirror. And after about a second or two, close your mouth. Keep trying to exhale, this time just out of your nose, continuing to make that sound. And hopefully you get that sense of this kind of like that the waves coming in and then pulling back. Now, in my experience, about 9 out of 10 people have no problem with the exhale. This technique becomes more tricky on the inhale. All right, so do your best with it, and you might like the deep diaphragmatic breathing. You might need to kind of just practice this on your own as you start to get a feel for it. So again, we're going to go back to using the mouth just as sort of a training tool. But again, Ujjayi breath is only in and out of the nose with this sound from the constriction of the throat. So we'll do it. We'll start with the exhale. Okay, we'll start with the nose exhale. So we'll make that happen. And then what we'll do is we'll open our mouth on the inhale and see if we can constrict and make a sort of a reverse fogging, if you will. You almost want to visualize a small mirror, like one of those little dentist mirrors. Like imagine that at the base of your throat, and as you inhale, you're trying to fog that up. A teacher gave that visualization to me once, and it really, really helped. So hopefully it works for you. So here we go. Big breath in. Exhale. Close the mouth. Continue to exhale out of the nose, making that sound. Connect with that feeling. Connect with that sound. Okay, now go ahead and open your mouth when you're ready and inhale. So it's now maybe your inhale wasn't as long as mine was, but hopefully you started to feel that. So you might need to hit a pause and just practice that once or twice more to get a feel. Now, if your throat gets agitated by that, that's normal. That's why we don't use our mouths to do this practice. That was just a one-time thing I wanted you to feel. So now we're going to try to do all of that with the mouth closed. You want to sort of surf this because it's, you might have some breaths that are shorter than you're used to taking. Just like notice that and try to extend the next aspect of your breath. So let's say you have a really short inhale, it kind of got stuck. Maybe it was only a 2 or 3 second inhale. Don't panic. Just on your exhale, really try to lengthen it out and squeeze the breath out. So the longer your exhale, the more you can squeeze out, the more capacity you have for your lungs on that next inhale. And you could hopefully start to then sort of reestablish your deep rhythm. So here we go. Putting that all together. We're not going to use our mouth at all unless you need to. Okay, if at any point you kind of lose it, go back to the fogging that worked for you. But we're going to just sit up tall, soften our eyes or close them, and just take 3 deep Ujjayi breaths, as long and slow and deep as you possibly can, focusing on the feeling and the sound within. Here we go. I like to start on an exhale. One more. Just pause for a moment. You can let go of that controlled breathing. Take inventory of how you feel on all levels. Now, while we did those 3 breaths, if you couldn't tell, I was sort of with my fingers trying to indicate when I was inhaling the direction that I was trying to push that inhale as it went. Okay? So you might want to go back if you didn't notice that and just sort of check that out and see how I was sort of mentally trying to direct my breath, and then correspondingly use my physical body to capture that. So now I want you to lay down, whether if on your stomach, if that feels better, with your making your arms on the pillow, if you want to lay on your back. But now I want you just to spend 5 minutes. Maybe you want to put on like a chill song. You might even want to put on some ocean sounds, some wave sounds, and you can sort of mimic that sound that you're hearing in your body, and then see if like once that song stops or once that like maybe 5 minute track stops, if you could continue to embody that within you. But again, I really do encourage this, and what I would ask that you do is give it a genuine, sincere effort and try it when we're in our movement. Because like when your body is uncomfortable in a stretch, which is going to happen, all right, that's actually one of the things that I hope happens, because that's how we practice staying calm and focused when we're uncomfortable, and being with it and not just like stopping and like, taking off. It's like if you're ever in class or if you're ever in a business meeting and you're just bored and you just like go to the bathroom. You don't have to go to the bathroom. You're just trying to avoid the situation. Maybe the next time you do that, maybe you kind of have a nice, gentle, sort of fogging ocean yogic Ujjayi breath. But when the sensations do become intense, this ability to direct the mental energy onto the sound and the feeling of the breath. We already had the feeling, when we did the diaphragmatic thing, but now we're adding this sound, and it's just another internal focus that really can help us manage what's going on in our inner ecosystem. So again, lay down. If you want to stay seated, that's fine, but at least 5 more minutes of just dedicated breathing practice like this. Enjoy.